Welcome to the Engage Your Voice Group Q&A Mastermind. Of course, you guys know me. I'm Cheryl Devon from Speaking with Cher. We do this twice a month. We do this on the first and third Wednesdays of every month at 1:30 Central Time for an hour, either an hour at the most, or however long you guys have questions regarding how to properly engage your voice, whether it's with a book, speaking at an event, uh, media interviews, whether it's emails, social media, all of that, even just in person with total strangers at a networking event, with colleagues, collaborators, employees, all the things. We get down to the nitty gritty right here. So we've got a couple of new people that have joined us. For those of you that are watching the replay, hello, we've missed you. I totally get it. Things get busy, but I want to go ahead and get you introduced to the new members that have joined here today so that you get to know who they are. And in turn, you can reach out and they can get to know who you are. So who wants to start and tell us who you are?
I guess I can start. I'm Dawn O'Malley. I'm an artist. I live here in Loveland, Colorado. Mother, grandmother.
Good to know. And?
Mhm. And? Oh, and a writer.
And a writer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then
an art
anything,
teacher.
Art teacher, all the things, all the good things. And April?
I would add Dawn is also an amazing friend. She's a friend of mine as well. And she's an amazing friend. She really is. But yes, you're welcome. So I am April, and I have my husband and I own a company that we help blended families avert financial chaos. So I'm obviously married, and I have a 32-year-old son, and then my bonus boys are 29 and 24. They just have birthdays. We have one daughter-in-law and one on the way, and then we have one grandchild and one on the way. So that's us.
Lots of fun, lots of stuff going on, it sounds like. So I would say you help Brady Bunch families. It's what you
Pretty
do.
much.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's get started. I know there has to be questions regarding your messaging, your brand voice, getting your voice out there and making that impact. Which one of you wants to bring something to the table first?
I will be happy to share. I have been teaching for probably 20 years in schools and community centers, art centers, etc. And I haven't taught big classes or workshops probably in the last couple years. And now I'm going to start again in January. So I'm getting closer to the deadline. Also, I'm thinking about doing YouTube videos with little snippets of my artwork and also on Instagram. For some reason, I'm getting very anxious about being in front of people again, especially people I don't know. I don't feel that way with people I do know so much, but it's people I don't know. And some anxiety around that. And I don't really know if I've felt that before as much as I do now, which I don't know if it has to do with me getting older, or how I feel about myself. I'm not sure what it is. It's just this, I've been soul searching about it, and just like want to grab it by the neck and figure it out and overcome it. So I feel like I've done a lot of work around myself through growth work. So I'm not sure what that underlying thing is. Maybe it's just breaking through the barrier of it.
Let's talk this through just a little bit. First of all, there's no thinking about doing YouTube and Instagram snippets. You will. You're going to do them. That's the best way. Get it out there. The more visibility you have, the more impact you're going to make in the world. So you said there was a 20-year gap between the teaching.
No, just two.
Only 2 years. Okay.
I've been teaching private lessons, and once in a while I teach a little tiny group of friends, like in Arizona last year. But as far as putting together in someone else's space, I'm going into someone else's space. I'm going to be renting monthly from them. And so that's a new thing in itself. And secondly, it will be a lot of new people that I've never met before. They've signed
So-
up for my art sign-up list,
Mhm.
and it will get promoted along with other new people. So some reason it just has been coming up as anxiety for me.
So let's go through sort of let's go through a role play if you're willing to play with me just a little bit.
Sure. Mhm.
Let's say I'm the new person, which
Mhm.
in a way I am. We only just met each other a few weeks ago.
Mhm.
So I'm coming to your program. I'm
Mhm.
coming to it. You don't know me. What's the first thing you think of as you see my name show up registering for it? What's the first thing you're thinking?
The first thing I'm thinking is that I'm going to go over and say hi to you and introduce
Okay.
myself.
Okay. And then you suddenly know me,
Yes.
at least in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you're going to be doing with each of the members that have registered?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So you have an anxiety around the people you don't know. And what do you think? What is it? Are you fearing rejection? Are you thinking they're maybe they know more than you do? Are you questioning what you know, how you deliver it? Let's dig into this a little bit.
Yes. And so some of these people, a lot of these people I met at art shows, or even this weekend, I met several people that signed up to take classes. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. So I've met these people, most of these people already
Okay? You
once.
already know them.
And some of them I've talked to for a while, so I feel really comfortable. I think it's in front of, it could be 6 to 8 people. It's not a lot of people. And I think some of it has to do with my being nervous in front of people and just start talking. And I started organizing everything, so I feel like I have some structure. I tend to be a little bit more, go off, just kind of be creative but I'm trying to bring myself in and have a little more structure to my teaching,
I think
but
we've
being
just
creative.
pinpointed.
Huh?
I think we may have just pinpointed where your anxiety is coming from. You have everything super structured,
I'm
and
not
you
like that
just
though.
admitted that's not how you operate.
Uh-huh.
So you're already in conflict with
Mm-hmm.
who you are, with your brand voice and
Mm-hmm.
what your messaging is going to be. One of the things that I would recommend is don't have everything so super structured. Have the outline. Have
Mm-hmm.
your slides. When I spoke at Gary Barnes Business Boot Camp,
Mm-hmm.
if you noticed, one of the things that I had up there were just slides, basic slides. Those were placeholders to get me back on track. There was no superscripted anything. It was a conversation with 108 people, most of whom I hadn't known.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put yourself in conflict with your voice and your personality, the way you do things, and you suddenly want to make that 180 switch, that's where the little brain inside, the little kid inside is going, hold up, we don't do this, we don't know how to do this, we're not experienced with this. What if we mess up? And that's where imposter syndrome starts coming up. So I understand the need to keep, you know, things on track and hit
Mm-hmm.
certain places, but I would recommend doing it more of an outline approach and then having perhaps your slides or some trigger to put you
Mm-hmm.
back to, okay, I'm at this place, so that you can let your personality shine through, which is creative, which is intuitive. You like those interactions, those conversations. It's also going to give you the ability to focus a little more on the places where they do show more interest or have questions or things like that. But it keeps you from being in conflict with your own personality, One of the things that you want with your brand voice and your brand personality is to have it so that whenever you're doing any sort of messaging, it feels natural. It's like a limb. It's like, here's my hand, whatever. I talk with my hand, so here it goes. You want it to feel that same way in everything that you do. So I think let me ask you, how structured out is this?
Oh, I have like, I do have the outlines. I do have the structure. I think I'm working, the lady who has the facility, well, her place is the studio. She's much more, a little more structured. And a lot of my friends seem to be more structured and I'm not. And I'm concerned about letting people down. That's part of it. Expectations of others, letting people down. Uh, Sometimes I don't know, I get words mixed up. I get, dyslexia stuff. So there's a part of that, just a little tiny thing in the back. And just somehow not meeting people's needs. And I believe that that's not going to be the problem, yet it's up here that there's some fear of that. So everything you're saying is true. The
So let me
imposter
ask you,
syndrome,
let me
I
ask you
think
this
so.
question.
Mm-hmm.
They've met you, so they know who
Yes.
you are
Mhm.
and what you're
Mhm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
They've signed up. So obviously there is something that
They
they
like the
already
work.
know
Right.
sets you apart. When you start to pigeonhole yourself and make yourself sound like the rest, what's their reason for coming to see you and signing up for your stuff?
Gotcha.
They're coming for you,
Yeah.
because anybody else can put together um, a show, a presentation, a workshop, a what have you. They're coming for you already.
Mhm.
So you've already got their respect. They're like, hey, this one's different. I need to learn something. What you may be forgetting is they are so structured. They actually are admiring how you operate in general and are
Well, a lot,
looking
yeah.
to learn that same principle. April,
It's-
do you have any other thoughts on this?
And I'm taking a lot of notes of what you're saying. I think, I think I had when I like first started doing a lot more just like speaking in public, that kind of thing, is and training advisors and stuff like that. It was someone had told me, a mentor of mine told me, he said, and this was kind of hard for me to accept at the time. I'm like, oh, and then I was like, oh, that's so true. But we have this thing called our ego that gets in the way sometimes. And he said, when you walk on stage, whatever your stage is, and you're like, all this stuff is going on in your brain, he said, you're making it about you and your ego versus about them. And I love when Cher just said, like, they're already here for you. Like, they're showing up because it's dawn. They're already showing up. So you've got that out of the way. So one of kind of something that like God gave me right after that conversation is just every time you are in front of a client, or every time you're, having an opportunity to impact someone, is just how may I serve? How may I serve? How may I serve? And that really helped. That helped me. I don't know if that helps you at all, but that's what's coming up for me as I'm madly taking notes on what Cher is saying here. But that just really helped a lot.
You are the subject, but not the message.
Right.
Remember
Right.
that. You are the subject, but not the message. Just as a reminder, you will be getting the video, the audio, and the chat coming up tomorrow after this too. So if you don't want to scribble, if you're worrying about scribbling and taking all the notes, I got you covered here too.
Okay.
So absolutely. So Dave, hello, Dave. You want to unmute and introduce yourself to everybody? It's good to see you, my friend.
One of my favorite people in the entire world. I'm so excited. I just came from an interview. Sorry, I was doing my podcast and I'm like, I gotta go see Cheryl. So it's nice to meet everybody. Cheryl has been on my podcast. I'm a huge fan of Cheryl. And when this invite went out, I'm like, I gotta reorganize my calendar just to be here. So nice
I
to meet
really
everybody.
appreciate you.
Yeah. I'm up in Canada. I'm near Niagara Falls. So hello, everybody.
Tell them what you do.
I'm a podcaster. I have 9 different podcasts that I host. I have about 2,000 episodes now. I've been doing this for a while. I help people with podcasting as well. and sharing their message. The idea of, and I didn't want to interrupt, so that's why I stayed off camera, but the idea around imposter syndrome and who am I and fear of that. One of the things that I work on with the people that I help with podcasting, whenever the topic comes up about imposter syndrome, is to make a list of things that you didn't know how to do in the past, but now you can do with very little effort. So an example for my own life is I can drive a manual transmission car, right? And for me, I've been driving this for 40 years. Uh, so I just get in the car and drive. I don't even think about it. But when somebody sits next to me and they don't have that skill, they look at me like I'm some kind of mad scientist. Because how do you have three pedals on and 2 feet? How do you drive this thing? But for me, it's nothing, right? And so whenever I have a moment where I feel like I can't do something new, or I feel like I'm not good enough, or why me, what I do is I have a list that I keep near me of all the things I can do that I couldn't do in the past. And when a thought comes to me that says I'm not good enough in the moment, I refer to the list of all the things I can do. And that becomes, those are facts. I can do this, this, and this. And I just had to learn and had to practice and just get used to it. And now it's just common knowledge for me. So anytime I feel like I just can't do that, I can't do that episode, I can't interview that amazing guest Cheryl on my show. Anytime I feel like I'm a little inadequate in that moment, I just look at the list and go, I've done hard things before. I know I can do this. It's just going to take a little bit of time to get there, but I've already proven to myself that it's possible. So that helps me to wrestle with my imposter syndrome, because there's many times I'm like, why would anybody care to listen to me? Right? Who am I in this moment? But then I have these facts that say, hey, Dave, you can do this. So as I was listening in, I didn't want to barge into the conversation because it was really great. But that's kind of my take on it and how I wrestle with it and how I overcome that. So it's good.
Thank you.
Dave is one of the most phenomenal podcast host interviewers I've come across in many a year. He doesn't give himself enough credit, like most of us. Most of us don't give ourselves enough credit. Imposter syndrome, I look at like this: you are what you say you are, right, Don? I mean, you're an
Yes.
artist, you're an instructor. So you're not pretending. That's what an imposter does, is they pretend. They're the ones that dress up in a cop, uniform and get phone numbers from co-eds. That's not only an imposter, that's illegal. Nothing that we're doing here is fake or illegal, hopefully. As far as I know, I plead the fifth here. But we're just at different mile markers is where we are. So you're going to always have somebody who you're here and they're way over here and we want to be more like that. And those are the people we're comparing ourselves to, who we're forgetting and going back to, who do we serve? We serve the people that are over here who are looking to get right here where you are. They're looking at you as that person going, boy, I wish I was like that. And so those are the people that you're serving. We're all in the same river. We're just paddling at different mile markers. So if you keep that in mind, I think between that and getting yourself back in alignment with what your actual brand personality and voice is, and not worrying, am I just like this person? Because you don't want to be that person. You want to be you. You want to elevate and separate. They're coming for you. I think if you remember those few things, you're going to be just fine. Not a problem.
I think you hit on something, because there's this artist that's my age that's like, she's amazing. I aspire. We're very similar in our styles, but she's got this. She's gone to Europe and she's taught over there, and then she's got this organized structure platform. I'm sure she has all this, help to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's partly what it's like, oh, I want to be like that. And she's pretty fun and playful, more like me. And yet I really aspire for that. And yet I feel like I'm way over here. And I know the people I'm teaching are way over here. So I know where I'm at. It's just that I sometimes think that it's not feeling like it's just making me feel like I'm not there yet, and maybe it's not enough to be where I'm at to teach. I think I start going, oh, I don't know how to do this or be on Zoom or be on all of that. So it must be a comparison thing that I'm dealing with inside myself.
Can I add
So
something there?
anyways,
Oh, go
Yes,
ahead.
please. Please.
Well, have you read the book? Anyone read the book, The Gap and the Gain?
Yes.
Okay, Dawn, oh my gosh, girl, please read that book. It's so good. Because
Could you drop the link?
Yeah,
when finish your thought and then put that in the chat so everybody can get a hold
most
of
of us live in the gap, like if we're not consciously thinking of it, and even if we're consciously thinking of it, we can, at least my experience is I'm consistently thinking, okay, I'm in the gap, I gotta go to the gain. And so when we're in this, because I mean, it's great, we see these people to aspire to, and I know you've mentioned this woman to me before, Dawn, so I know who you're talking, I don't know her, but I know the person you're talking about. And it's like, instead of like, oh, I'm not there yet, I don't know how to do this, I don't do that, just think of like, but maybe you just like there's a lot of ways to approach it, but maybe you almost like step into this like persona of her for a minute and go, what would she have told her? What did she tell herself where she learned how to do, figuring out how to do Zoom, whatever the things are you're worried about, right? Like, what would she have told herself? Or if she was sitting here next to me and make her like your best friend, like, she doesn't know this, but like, what would she tell me? But thinking about like, wow, she didn't know how to do this at one point and she figured it out. And if she can do it, I can do it. She's just another human, right? Because I don't know if you noticed this, but the closer we all get to one another, we realize like, oh, you're just like another human. Like, you know what I mean? Like your specialness is because you're the only human that was ever Dawn. You're the only human that was ever Cher or Dave or April. No one else ever has been created to be that person. And so I think that just that gap again, I'll put that book in there. It's such a great book in life in general of just living in the gain versus the gap. And you'll understand that probably more than I can articulate it here because there's a whole book about it. But really, thinking about, yeah, like what would she have thought versus like, I can't, not enough. Because it's easy to live in that gap, right? Does that sort of make sense? I'll put the book in the thing. It'll be helpful.
Another thing you might want to consider is that you're looking at all of these accomplishments that this woman has that you haven't learned to do yet. But the way you're saying it sounds like an I have to do this rather than an I get to learn this. This should be something to look forward to. It's not a chore. You get to continue to improve upon yourself and keep scaling and moving up. So some of the language and messaging that we need to work on is within ourselves as we go along that process as well. And how would you encourage those around you? You get to do this. You get to learn this. You get to continue to improve. You get to continue to expand. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So who else has a little messaging thing or how do I get the impact, the visibility, all of these different things? Who else has a question they want to bring to the table today?
Okay, I have a question, and I think it's kind of cool that Dawn is talking about Instagram and YouTube, and that's what I want to talk about. So you know how at Gary Barnes' event he talked about, do you feel like you're the best kept secret kind of thing? And I have my clients tell me all the time, oh my gosh, I wish everyone would listen to me when I tell them to talk to you kind of thing. I'm like, well, how can I get my voice out there and be able to have people kind of get to know me a little bit before they meet with me, all that stuff. And being in the industry that I'm in, that's been a challenge over time, but there have been so many things like we can actually do YouTube and Instagram now. And that's like Instagram being able to do that is literally like 3 weeks ago, they said we can do that now. So that's how slow our industry is. But with that said is I want to start a YouTube channel, and it's more, I guess where my question is coming from is when, Sherry, you talk about like finding your voice, amplifying your voice is, I don't know how to do that. So I can go on YouTube and like talk about these different concepts and all that. And the way I explain things might, resonate with that particular client that's looking for me. But I think just, I don't know. I don't know if I just need to be myself or if there's an actual way, because I'm very structured. So if there's like a recipe I could follow to say this is, bringing your voice to that so that, yeah, just so that it's branded in that way, if that makes sense.
It does. So, April, let me ask you a question. When you walk into a room, like we met just a couple of weeks ago,
Mhm.
when you walked up to me and I had no idea, or when we started, editing your chapter for that collaboration book, and I didn't know anything about you, how did you tell yourself, tell me about yourself? How did you start that process?
I don't know. I don't know. I think I just sent you the manuscript because I was supposed to, or the chapter.
When we spoke in person, or
Okay.
when we were going back and forth in our emails, and so, okay, don't even use me. Let's say you're meeting Dave for the first time here, which you are.
Mhm. Mhm.
So tell Dave what you do. Tell Dave who you are.
Okay, well, so, but do I do that, like, is that kind of just like the introduction on every YouTube, and then I go into what I'm gonna talk about?
Every YouTube, I wouldn't
Okay.
do it. But
Okay,
being that you have not yet started this process, is that correct?
yes,
So I would start with a little introduction video. Hey, just like if you're walking up and you're introducing yourself to Dave for the first time. Hi, I'm
Mhm.
April. Da 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 da. This is what I do, but this is why. This is what I'm so passionate about. I wouldn't
Okay,
make it any
mhm,
longer than 90 seconds to 2 minutes, especially given the constraints on IG. For YouTube, the 2 minute shorts,
mhm,
perfect. And then
okay,
I would pin that getting, introduction, get to
yeah,
know April kind of a thing. I would pin that to the top of both channels so that people can always take a look at your profile and go, oh, okay, this is what this chick does. This is great.
okay,
So, and then going forward, keep it thematic. Come up with, 3 simple tips to
yeah,
da da da, or but always think about what the value is that you're providing on that. What sort of tips, what sorts of tricks? Somebody has a pain point that you come across. Man, I wish this is so hard for me in this situation. I don't know what to do. Hey,
yeah,
I hear you. I got an answer for you because you're solving their pain at that point. So those are the ways that I would begin to handle that, but keep them relatively short, no more than a minute and a half to 2 minutes tops is what I would
okay.
do. Just those little snippets, those little shorts. Anybody else have suggestions for April on this one? I think Dave does. We just have to unmute
There's a
him.
good thing there. The one thing I always try to encourage people to do is to build in public. Don't try to have everything all finished and then present it, but take people on the journey with you as you
Mhm.
discover who you are and as you grow and as you develop. People want to see people succeed. They want to cheer you on, and they're quietly wishing that they were you as you're doing this in public, right? So that gives them inspiration. I'm hearing people here talk about people that inspire them. You
Mhm.
also are an inspiration to somebody else as you do your journey. As awkward as it feels like we're all like, 15, 16-year-olds, and we're trying to figure out what's going on in our bodies and everything's weird, but we're doing it. We're still living life, right? So as awkward as it feels to get out there and share your story and put yourself in front of people for the first time in a different medium, take people along, show them the behind the scenes, show them how you grow, show them when something doesn't work and how did you rebound? How did you change? How did you correct course? Because then people are like, wait a minute, April
Mhm.
can do this. Cheryl can do this. If these amazing people that I follow can do these things, then there's hope for me. And that's the fun part of all of this. And then kind of going back to the idea about someone's at a different level than you are. I'm a guitar player. I've been playing music for 40 years. And when I go see an amazing guitar player perform, I have two options. I can either look at that person who's way better than I am and go, okay, well, they're better than I am, so I'm never going to play guitar again. Sell all my
Mhm.
stuff and get rid of it, because there's no way that I can be as great as they are. Or I can go home and practice and go, you know what? If that person has that kind of ability and I don't, then there's opportunity for me to grow. There's a chance that I can get better. So if I study them and I learn from them, I can then become better. So I have a choice. I can either give up or I can push forward. So whenever I meet somebody who's better at podcasting or better at speaking or better at whatever, a better dad, a better husband, then I have those two choices. I can either give up or I can do better. And that's kind of my approach and all of that. So when you see those people that are further ahead of you, there's people further ahead of them that they're having the exact same struggle that you're feeling. They just might not be showing it. So just keep that in mind. I always try to have three people in my life, one person ahead of me that I can look forward to and be inspired by, somebody beside me who's on the same level, struggling where I'm at, where we can be peers together and support each other. And never forget the one person behind you who is looking at you as the inspiration for their journey. They're starting, you're midway, you're not perfect, but you're further than they are. And they're looking at you, they're cheering you on. They might not hear from them, but they're cheering for you. And they want you to succeed because they want to model you. You're that person that's going to make them either put their guitar away or practice. You're that for them. So don't give up and just keep pushing forward with that. Realize the places where you need to learn and just develop those things. Focus on those. Get feedback. Talk to great people like Cheryl. Be around people who inspire you. And then you'll see all these things kind of click into place. But the one person that will not succeed is the person who doesn't try, who doesn't put themselves out there and go, you know, there's opportunity here, right? So again, if I look at that guitar player and I give up because they're better than me, I'm missing out on an opportunity, not just for myself, but the person who's looking to me as inspiration. I could help them as well as I build in public. So that's kind of my approach.
That's awesome. Thank you. That's so helpful. I love the build in public part too, because, and then Don, I know I keep picking on you, but Don has been like seeing a lot of my journey, and I've just noticed my business where I'm at is kind of where how the kind of clients that start showing up in my life is what's going on in my life. And that's where the blended family thing came from. But it is really messy, and it's a lot to, go kind of walk alongside a family with that. But a lot of that, I initially learned how important it was and why I niched my business specifically to blended families. Because when I became one as an adult, I grew up in one, but as I became one as an adult, I'm like, holy moly, like there's so many gaps in the planning. Like we're not helping these people in the way we should be. So, or we can. And I didn't even realize it until I was in the situation. And so, yeah, I really like that kind of taking them behind the scenes, because especially now, like another reason it resonated, Dave, is my husband's coming into business with me. And, that's even more opportunity to really like show a lot of, a lot of the struggles and the wins and all that kind of go on, and just planning your life together, whether it be a business or, you're not even working together, but you are working together, right? Even if you have separate jobs.
There's your message. There's your special sauce. You know what you're talking about because you actually live it every single day.
Yeah.
Let people see that. Let them see the mess behind it so that they can go, oh, she's just like me. You want that relatability piece all the way through. Don, I think you had something you wanted to add.
Yes. Something I wanted to share is that when I met April, I think in 2017 at a PSI conference, and we both were going through our own thing. We didn't really talk about what we did at the time because you had to keep that in. But a year later, when my dad passed, and there was some, he left a little bit of money and he left some stocks. I didn't know what the heck to do, and so I already had a trust in April. Knew April was just like me, and she was way above me and understood investing a little bit more, and I've learned a lot on the way through the years. Though I had someone I could trust, number one, someone who was down to earth, who had a messy life sometimes like I did, and struggled with, divorce and those kind of things. So I knew that I could go to her and trust her fully. And so just like April, just to be you. And I think what you just said, Dave, and what Cher said is the people that attract me on podcasts, by the way, are people that are just themselves. Those are the people, and I feel like I can trust them. The people that tend to be a little bit more polished and just like perfect, I don't feel the same connection to them. I'd rather trust somebody with a little bit of messy hair or someone who, isn't perfect, which helps me in the thought of my own self. When I answer this to you, I also can see how that is true for me. So I just wanted to tell you, because of who you are and your sincerity and your kindness, and you are so good at listening and you're so present, that I just trusted you. And to trust somebody with my money is a huge thing. It's not little. And anyways, that's what I wanted to say. And thank you, Dave, for all you shared.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Dawn. You're
Mhm.
awesome.
Before I forget, what I would encourage you to do is drop your contact info into the chat too. That way, anyone that's here, or for those of you that are watching the recording, the replay after tomorrow, you have an opportunity to reach out and connect to one another. It is not an opportunity to spam each other. I'm going to throw that out there right now. I get word of that. See ya. But it is a way for you guys to reach out and to collaborate, to help one another, to get to know one another. I encourage that. Encourage those discovery sessions and find ways that you might be able to benefit one another. So if you've got the opportunity, go ahead, please drop that into the chat and we'll go from there. Dave, I owe you a check for being my #1 cheerleader on this.
Oh, come
call,
on.
by the way, thanks.
You don't have enough money for that. I tell everybody about you.
Man, I so appreciate it. So who else has, Dave, do you have a question, anything that you want to bring to the table? Dawn, April, any other questions? I want to be so mindful of your time. I want to answer any questions you might have going forward, all within the time up until, the bottom of the hour here. I want to make certain that we get to everything.
For me, I just want to come and soak in some great Cheryl time. So that's my selfish takeaway, is I'm just here for that. So, and if I can jump in and add any value, I love it. But I want to just kind of lean on what's happening already and what you're building, Cheryl.
You
I love
provide
it.
a lot of value,
Appreciate it.
of value. Uh, Going back to that whole, you made the comment, Don, about perfectionism. How many of you actually look at those perfect people? I mean, what's your reaction when you see the one that's totally polished and smooth, and it looks like everything is roses all the way around, that they're having a 18 karat diamond encrusted life? What's your first reaction when you see those people?
It's a moment in
Ew.
time. Yeah.
Ew is usually, because most of us, unless we're, the high end of a narcissistic panel, most of us don't feel like we're perfect. We don't like those people that seem to have everything going on. We're either envious, or we immediately think they're fake. It's the used car snake oil salesman. You're like, something's not right there. Your instinct is to say, because that's not who we are. We're all kinds of messy. We're all sorts of, bags under the eyes, ponytail kind of a day sort of a thing. We're all there. And so in order to build those relationships with your perfect client, your perfect audience member, and I notice how I say it singular rather than plurally, because how many of you like to be talked to like you're part of a cattle caller at the DMV? You're just a number. Nobody wants to feel like they're just part of a mass group, that they're invisible. You want to speak to the one. Always want to think about that one person. I don't care if you're, in front of 5 or 5 million. One person. They want to feel special. And so you build that relationship, you build that rapport, you build that trust. And that's how you start creating. But the way to do that is they see you like them. They can put themselves straight into your shoes and they can see that for themselves. That's what's going to make them the perfect listener, the perfect viewer, the perfect client, the perfect what have you. Is you can take them on that journey with you and they can literally put themselves in your shoes and go, I can relate to that. Relatability is going to be the one big piece in anything you do, whether it's verbal or written, is can they relate? Can they put themselves in your shoes and see themselves there? And are they comfortable being there? So those are the factors that you're going to want to take away no matter how you operate, is those steps. Can they relate to me? Do they see themselves in my shoes? Is that a place? Are those shoes the place they want to be standing? And that's how you get for that one person. And it's always one. It's like fishing. You go out there, you want to catch the trophy fish in the lake. So you go on the right weather conditions. You've got the right bait. You've got the right equipment. You're in the right spot. You toss it out there and you don't get the trophy fish. You get something completely different, but it's a good fish. You keep it. And then you toss back in going after that one ideal fish. Because as you're going for that one ideal, you're still going to attract all the ones that maybe aren't that perfect trophy fish, but they're good fish. And you bring them in and they start, the ones that haven't, been hooked yet. They're like, hey, I'm going to tell my friends, we got this right here. Well, I guess in a way you kind of want them hooked, but that's a whole different story where the fish don't want to be hooked. But your ideal customer, your ideal listener, they want to be hooked. So they're going to say, hey, I got this one. You got to come see what's available to us right here. That looks like a worm buffet for this fish. You're the worm buffet. for lack of a better phrase. Yeah. See, I go, don't feel bad, Don. I go off on these rabbit hole tangents too. Dave, are you still so sure you're soaking in all the goodness coming out of this? So the worm buffet.
Buffet.
Worm buffet. Never in a million years did I think that phrase would come out of my mouth, but here we are.
I love it. I love it.
And at any rate, don't be perfect. Just be messy. That's the majority of people love that. So what else do we have? Any other questions?
I do. I have one more. So how, because I think Cher and I know Dave and possibly April too, that how do you approach, like if you're doing, I've done a little bit of Instagram, a little bit of Zoom, not a lot, and I've done just a little bit of things, but there's so much more. There's so many platforms now, and there's just to show yourself or to sell things like your prints or your art. In so many ways, it feels overwhelming to me. I feel like literally overwhelmed. And even at the Gary Barnes conference, which was amazing, there's so many wonderful choices of things that are being offered. And it's like so much. And it's like, I'm at a buffet, speaking of worm buffets, but I'm at a buffet. And I'm like, buffets. I know that I'm not able to do it all. I need to choose. And yet there's so much. And it's just, I mean, I don't know how you guys approach all this and how you, because there's only one of me and there's only so much time I have. How do you go about this?
You take a look at which things are going to be your so that's. They take you toward your goal. I mean, you have to really sit down and look when you have all these different choices and all these different platforms. Which ones take me closer to my ultimate goal and to my perfect person? So, I mean, Instagram, you look at who's out there. Instagram is mostly millennials at this point, and some Gen Z. Gen Z is mostly TikTok. You look at Gen X and boomers are sitting around on Facebook. And as far as YouTube, you get a mixed bag there because they're the second largest search engine on the planet right now, owned by the first, Google. You've got some of the AI platforms that are moving up in that search engine um, stadium, but really it comes down to who is you. That's why you have to know who your perfect person is. You need to know everything about them. You need to know, like, are they a man or a woman? Or what age are they? Are they married or divorced? Do they like this? What do they do on a Tuesday night at 6 p.m.? You want to know those things so that you can reach them in the right place at the right time is what you're looking for. When it comes to choices like at Gary's Boot Camp with all the different vendors and all the different things, you take a look at it from the approach of what gets me to my ultimate goal fastest. Does this? Well, this is fun, but it really doesn't have anything to do with what I need. Does this? I'm not so sure I want to do that, but I know it's really going to help me. That's my approach to it, at least. And on that, ladder, I'll grumble all the while, but I know that's the one. Instead of the fun one that really doesn't get me there, I grumble and take the one that takes me to that next step. Now, Dave, do you have a different approach that you do
I
coming with your background?
I threw it in the chat already. It's a quote attributed to Theodore Roosevelt. Do what you can with what you have where you are. It's permission, right? Do what you can. So when you think about all of these different platforms that you can be on, what can you do? Don't overextend yourself. Don't take on too many. Don't be on every platform starting out. Pick the platform that you like. You're sounds like a lot of your stuff, Don, is visual. So you're going to want to be on a visual platform. So that's going to narrow down some of them. So like Threads, it's not really a visual. TikTok, visual. So there's like Twitter X, that's not really visual. So you can kind of limit already where you want to be. Instagram would be great for visual. So that helps. So do what you can. Don't do everything, but do what you can with what you have. Don't go out and spend a lot of money. Don't go buy all these things if you're not sure about it. But what do you have? So do what you can with what you have right now and where you are. Like, you're going to learn more as you do this. So don't wait and just accumulate knowledge and delay launching or moving forward because you don't know enough. But do what you can with what you have where you are. You have everything you need to start. And where you go from here is based on time, practice, research, accountability, finding great mentors, following somebody else who inspires you, and again, building in public. All those things together will take you to the goal. And you're going to try things that are not going to work. I went on this platform, no engagement. Great. I'm moving forward from that. I'm going to move on. So all of these things together, I just find that those three components of this quote is just a great permission for anybody that's trying something new, because you have everything you need to start. And in podcasting, I know people who have 25 gurus. They've been to every podcast conference. They've bought every book made on podcasting. They have 32 microphones. They just accumulate knowledge, but they've never actually done anything with it. You're going to learn more by doing than by just learning alone. So when people get overwhelmed with how many choices and how much they don't know is usually when people stop or delay. So my encouragement for everyone is just to follow those three things. Do what you can with what you have, where you are, and take the dirty next step and fail and get up and rub off your knees and keep going, right? Because that's when you're going to see more growth than you ever will with your head stuck in a book or another course, right? It's time to move forward. And the only way to become a podcaster is to be a podcaster. The only way to bungee jump is to bungee jump. You actually have to step off and actually take the step. which is going to be fearful, but that's how you become a bungee jumper. You could be an expert in bungee jumping by reading all these books, but if you've never done it, are you really an expert? Or are you just really educated? So that's kind of my thing. So my encouragement for anybody trying something new is just to follow those 3 steps.
Thank you, both of you. Good information.
April, any thoughts?
I would just say ditto. That was really good.
Now you know why we bring Dave in here. So.
Mic drop.
Absolutely. Well, we've got just a few more minutes left. Does anyone have any other thoughts, questions, ideas? I want to be totally mindful of your time, and I want to give you every opportunity to make the most of this time. No one? I think we've gone over some pretty, and I really appreciate each and every one of you for adding to this today. I think there's going to be pages of notes taken, myself included in this one. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to invest it with us here. And of course, those of you watching the replay, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch the replay. Of course, if you cannot be live on these calls, you can go ahead and email me at share@speakingwithshare.com. April, could you put that email address in the chat for me here, since I kind of do my thing. I can't do it all at one time. I am blonde. Really, I'm blonde. I encourage you to reach out. Always send me, before the next call, engage your voice call. And I am happy to address and answer those questions live, so that when you get the replay the next day, you can get an answer and a solution to your question. So I encourage that. The next one, let's see, we'll be doing this again. Gosh, can you believe we're getting into November already? Good heavens. So our next Engage Your Voice is actually on Wednesday, November 5th. Same bat time, same bat channel, 1:30 p.m. Central will be our next one. And if you have someone that you think could gain some value and some insight from this group, please feel free to share a free gift from share.com with them and let them, kick the tires, see what we're all about here. I think they're going to like us. So with that being said, I will see you again on November 5th. Thank you so much for being here.